Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. Today we'll be covering one of the decks that has performed the most successfully in the current standard format. This deck has absolutely destroyed a lot of competitions, incredibly powerful and difficult to deal with. I mean, the reason that this deck has actually performed so well is that it seems to cover and counter a lot of the current popular decks that have been popular in the standard format. So let's go right ahead and discuss it. So two very popular cards that have been increasingly used in the current standard format tends to be the Seismitoad EX and the Donphan. So right off the bat, Yveltal EX is a powerful anti-Donphan counter in that he has rock resistance, and his Evil Ball attack can very quickly dish out a lot of damage per energy attached to our opponent's Pokemon. But I mean, this in of itself is not effective enough to actually deal with the Donphan. So some other supporter cards that the Yveltal EX does actually have is that this deck tends to run Enhanced Hammers to get rid of our opponent's Donphan's strong energies, and we also have some Heart Charms to add on some extra insulation to our Yveltal EX. Just so right off the bat, a Heart Charm and our Yveltal EX will automatically reduce Donphan's first attack to 0 damage, because initially Wreck deals out 40 damage, and the Heart Charm immediately insulates us and prevents us from taking any damage whatsoever. So this is definitely one of the reasons that this deck is currently popular, because Donphan is quite an overwhelming and powerful deck, and this deck completely negates it. Not to mention the fact that this deck also counters Seismitoad EX by attaching a Heart Charm to Yveltal EX. That Seismitoad EX would only be dishing out 10 damage, and then if we manage to latch on any of our jamming nets to our opponent's Seismitoad EX as well, then that will further reduce that damage and allow that Seismitoad EX to hit for absolutely no damage. So these are the main reasons that this deck has actually been so successful and so popular. This is actually the deck that I've been using the most in the tournaments that we're running during the weekend, and I've performed extremely well with this deck. I've won approximately 80% of my tournaments by coming in first place. I came second place in a few other tournaments, and I believe I came in third to fourth place in another tournament. And the one game I lost immediately because all I started off with was an Yveltal, and our opponent had a Joltik and just happened to overpower me with his Night Merge deck early on. But with that, guys, so I just wanted to briefly mention how powerful this deck was and some of the decks that it countered. But now let's go ahead and actually take a look at the cards that we will be running in this deck. So again, the main attacker of our deck is going to be revolving around the Yveltal EX's Evil Paw attack. Very, very solid attack, and Y Cyclone can be just as useful, just to allow us to sort of switch around their energies. So Yveltal EX is the main attacker in our deck. We're going to be running 3 copies of him. We're also going to be running 1 Mewtwo EX. This is just to sort of increase the diversity of our weaknesses. His X-Ball attack, unfortunately, does not dish out anywhere as much damage to the same extent as the Yveltal EX, but nonetheless, still quite a solid Pokemon. And it is nice to have that sort of weakness variability, especially in case we do encounter Manectric EXs or Mega Manectric EX, which can unfortunately perform the one-hit knockout on our Yveltal EX, provided that we actually do not have our Shadow Circle Stadium card down. But we will be running a total of 4 Shadow Circles just to allow our Yveltal EXs to not get one-hit knocked out by those pesky lightning type Pokemon. Shadow Circle, definitely very, very powerful stadium card in combination with this Yveltal EX bulky type deck. This defensive Yveltal EX deck has again performed incredibly well, so Manectric EX shouldn't be too much of a problem, but of course that is why we are including the Mewtwo EX just in case. I mean, it is nice to have a bit of variability, and the Mewtwo EX can, for example, easily knock out that Lucario EX, things like that, so that's why we're ultimately running 1 copy of him. We're also going to be running 2 Yveltals just to allow us to use the Oblivion Wing attack and help speed up with the rate of energy attachment from our discard pile and then attaching them to our bench Pokemon. So Yveltal is quite nice. He's also going to be our anti-safeguard type Pokemon. His Darkness Blade attack can actually perform the one-hit knockout on Pokemon such as Suicune and Sigilyph, so definitely does come in handy. So we'll be running 2 copies of him, and we'll be running 2 copies of the Darkrai EX just to allow our Dark type Pokemon to retreat without us actually having to discard any energies. works quite nice. So we are going to be running 2 copies of him in our deck as well. And again, we're also going to be running just 1 Sterling Megaphone. This is most likely going to be used for us to actually discard of our opponent's item type cards that are attached to their Pokemon, so then we can go right ahead and jamming net our opponent's EX type Pokemon to reduce their damage by a total of 20. So that's why we are actually running the Starling Megaphone, and of course the Heart Charm just to try and insulate our Pokemon. And now we will go and talk about some of the other item cards that we are running in our deck. I've already discussed the Enhanced Hammer. We're going to be running a total of 2 energy switches. This is a card that just works very nicely with the Yveltal EX. Just allows us to sort of manipulate our energies and possibly help us get those one-hit knockouts in case we need them. So again, Energy Switch, a very solid card. So we are going to be running 2 copies of that. We're also going to be running 1 Escape Robe just to allow our Pokemon to switch in case they're affected by a status condition or something like that. For example, we're going to be running 2 Max Potions for 2 reasons. Number 1, our Yveltal will allow us to grab out those energies from our discard pile and then attach them to our bench Pokemon. And another reason is that since our Pokemon are going to be so heavily insulated, the Max Potion is just going to make life incredibly difficult for our opponents to deal with. Because I mean, already that Yveltal has a lot of insulation, and then to start all over again, that's definitely going to infuriate a lot of our opponents, and it's going to allow us to have a fresh start all over again. We're also going to be running a very atypical ace-spec card. We're going to be running the Scoop Up Cyclone. Again, we're trying to make use of the fact that we are running a very defensive type of deck, and again, once our Pokemon are close to being knocked out, we just Scoop Up Cyclone them and get the Pokemon back in our hand and all of the cards attached to them, and then we can start all over again. So this is why this deck is incredibly powerful, guys, and I've very much enjoyed actually using it. Some other cards that we're running as well, guys, is that since this deck has actually become so popular, we're actually going to be running a Tool Retriever as well. This is just to allow us to grab out any Team Flare cards that have actually been attached to our Pokemon. Most likely, I mean, that's going to be the most likely scenario in which we are going to be using them. Also, Tool Retriever can be nice in allowing us to grab, for example, our Heart Charms and then placing them onto another of our Pokemon, in case you want to sort of move around the insulation or one of our Pokemon are close to being knocked out and we just want to retrieve that card, for example. So Tool Retriever works quite nicely in this deck. Otherwise, I would normally not really recommend running it, but with the prevalence of Team Flare cards, definitely felt like Tool Retriever was a card worth running. Some other cards, guys, we are going to be running a total of 3 Ultra Balls, 2 VS Seekers, 2 Colorus, 2 Lysanders, 4 Ends, 4 Junipers, and 2 Skylas as our supporter type cards. I've already discussed the rest of the cards, and we are also going to be running a total of 12 Darkness type energies. So that's the basic deck breakdown, guys. Let's go right ahead and see what this bad boy can do. Again, it has performed extremely well. I've played quite a few battles with it, and as you guys can see, I have 81 overall wins with it. I believe I have a total of 10 or so losses. So again, it doesn't matter. This deck is incredibly powerful, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. The Primal Clash set is, however, going to be released rather quite soon, so we'll see how that actually affects this deck. I definitely think that this deck is going to lose in popularity, given the fact that Fairy type Pokemon are going to be much more prevalent with respect to the Primal Clash release set. Okay, so let's see what our opponent is running. I believe I saw Thunder and Psychic type, so I'm assuming our opponent is actually running a Night March type deck. Again, I don't think it's going to be too difficult for us to deal with that. I mean, the Joltik can dish out a lot of damage to us, but we do have the Shadow Circle, so by attaching a Darkness Energy to our Yveltal, we will hopefully be insulated from that. And it looks like I was right, so our opponent is going to be running the Night March deck. Quite annoying, but our deck should be able to perform rather quite well against it. I'll definitely be using the Jamming Net on our opponent's Mew EX just to help lower the amount of damage by an additional 20 HP, and hopefully he attaches a special energy to his Pokemon, so then I can just use the Enhanced Hammer to get rid of that. And okay, so right off the bat, our opponent's already discarding a lot of his Night March Pokemon, so our opponent definitely has a pretty good start, but hopefully we can still sort of come back from it. I feel like we can still perform rather quite well, and hopefully keep on discarding our opponent's Stadium type cards, or hopefully luring out their Night March Pokemon just so that that Mew EX's versatile ability does not get used. And okay, so our opponent has discarded a lot of Pokemon, so he would already be able to dish out 140 damage to us, and looks like the Dimension Valley is coming up. But okay, so let's go and use the Jamming Net on our opponent's Mew EX, attach the Heart Charm to our Yveltal, get rid of that Stadium card, place down a Darkrai EX and a Darkness. Um, you know what? I think will probably draw into Darkness Energy, so I'm gonna use the Juniper just so that we can speed up the energy acceleration. Awesome, looks like that happened. So let's go and attach a Darkness Energy to our Yveltal, and then I'm going to go and use the Oblivion Wing attack to hit for 30 damage. Grab out a Darkness Energy and latch it on to our Yveltal EX. If our opponent does have another Stadium card, I'm just gonna go and use our Shadow Circle again just to get rid of that. And our Yveltal should be able to survive this attack unless our opponent can get any more of his Night March Pokemon into his discard pile, which hopefully is not going to happen. And hopefully I will be able to get rid of that Mew EX. Okay, so it hits us for 100 damage, not enough to actually kill us, so we will be bringing out our Yveltal EX, so let's go and attach the Darkness Energy to him. Gonna go and attach a Heart Charm to him as well. And should I actually use the Scoop Up Cyclone? I actually don't think I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use the End for some new cards in our hand, so let's go and do that. Awesome, and it looks like we've actually gotten another Yveltal EX. Gonna retreat the Yveltal, bring out our Yveltal EX, and perform the one-hit knockout on the Mew EX and draw 2 prize cards. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a counter Stadium card, because then the Joltik would be able to unfortunately get rid of our Yveltal EX. But luckily our Yveltal with its Oblivion Wing attack would also be able to get rid of that Joltik. Okay, so it looks like the Dimension Valley is coming out. If our opponent does have the double colorless energy, he will also be able to knock out our Yveltal EX. We have actually drawn onto the max potion, so I'll probably be using that on our Yveltal just to reset him back to full health, and then hopefully I'll be able to get rid of that Joltik. If our opponent doesn't actually have any more bench Pokemon, it looks like this is going to be our game, and let's see if that is actually the case. If that is, I will be actually using this deck in another battle, but you guys can very easily see just how menacing and powerful this deck is, and I feel like we are actually going to be able to win this turn. Our opponent has slowed down his moves, so I don't think he actually does have a bench Pokemon, or maybe he's thinking what cards to discard using an Ultra Ball or something. Again, I'm not really sure, but again, the deck that we are using is quite powerful, and I feel like we should be able to win this turn. Again, not really sure what our opponent is thinking. Maybe he has lost the game, and is that the case? I don't know, but he really needs to hurry up. Unless he has just disconnected. Again, not really sure what's going on. Okay, he's actually going to Lysander out one of our Pokemon. Not really going to make a difference. We are going to be able to win regardless by attaching a Darkness Energy to our Yveltal EX and then retreating. I'll be able to perform the one-hit knockout, and then we will go on to victory. So, our opponent really needs to pick up his pace. I think he's just wasting time right now. And again, yeah, I'll definitely be finding us another opponent just so that you guys can see just how powerful this deck is. Again, definitely probably my favorite deck that I am using at the moment, or at least one of the top 5, and absolutely one of the most overpowering and overwhelming in the current standard format. So Iron Bat really needs to pick it up. Unless I think he's just wasting time. And okay, it looks like we are going to be able to win. So let's go and knock out that Joltik and go on for the victory and find ourselves another opponent. Okay, and again, guys, this is a very, very powerful deck, so I'm sure a lot of you guys will absolutely enjoy using it. Also, something else that I didn't mention is that we're actually not running any double colorless energies. The reason for that is that a lot of decks are currently running enhanced hammers, things like that, and we don't want to automatically lose any of our energies. So I completely forwent those types of energy attachments, and I ultimately just went with 12 darkness type energies. Okay, so I'm gonna go and attach a darkness energy to our Yveltal, and I'm gonna latch on a Heart Charm to him, and I'm going to end our turn. I mean, I absolutely don't think our opponent could knock out our Yveltal just yet. I will be using the Ultra Ball next turn because I'm trying to think what would actually be the best case scenario. And okay, looks like our opponent is going to grab out a Lucario EX, so he's going to be running a Crobat Lucario EX deck, which I had reviewed a few weeks ago, I believe. Definitely a very nice deck, and quite powerful as well. But luckily we do have the rock resistance, so that definitely does help us out with respects to dealing with these fighting type Pokemon. But the Missile Jab attack is not affected by resistance, so that Lucario will be able to hit us for a good amount of damage. And I mean, luckily that Hard Charm does allow us for that extra insulation. Okay, so I'm gonna place the Yveltal down. I'm gonna give up our Tool Retriever and a Darkness Energy to grab out an Yveltal EX, just so that we can hopefully get him going. Attach a Darkness Energy to him, and then Colress for 3 new cards in our hand. Okay, it looks like we do have another Colress, so I guess that's kind of nice. Let's go and use the Oblivion Wing attack for only 30 damage, but we will be able to retrieve that energy card and attach it to our Yveltal EX. And okay, so not the best start for us, I guess, because we don't have too many cards in our hand, but we do have another Colress, so hopefully shouldn't be too big of an issue. And if our opponent does bring out any more of his EX Pokemon, I will be able to attach the Jamming Net to them. Okay, looks like our opponent is actually going to drag out our Yveltal EX, so probably going to want to try and knock it out nice and early. So his Corkscrew Smash attack would hit us for 60 damage, not enough to actually get rid of our Yveltal EX, but it will allow him to actually draw onto six cards in his hand. So again, this is a deck that I had built earlier. Definitely do like it, and it definitely is quite a powerfully well-performing deck. So let's see what I should actually do right now. If I use these, I think I'm actually gonna go and use the Skyla for a for the Scoop Up Cyclone and bring back our Yveltal EX into our hand. I think that's the best option. Not actually gonna Max Potion him. Let's see. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm actually gonna go right ahead and grab out the Max Potion. Just retreat our Yveltal EX, and then bring out our Yveltal into the field once again, and then retreat our energies that we actually did discarded using his Oblivion Wing attack. So let's go and bring out our Yveltal, Max Potion off our Yveltal EX back into full health, attach a Darkness Energy to him, and then use the Oblivion Wing attack for 30 damage, and to grab out one of our Darkness Energies and attach them to our Yveltal EX. And if our opponent does attach another Fighting type energy to his Lucario EX, he would be able to get rid of our Yveltal, but then we'd also be able to perform the one-hit knockout using our Evil Ball attack. So let's see what our opponent is actually thinking right now. So again, if he does attach any energy to his Lucario EX, I will be able to knock him out on our next turn using our Yveltal EX, and I'm probably going to have to use our Colress on our next turn. Let's see if that Hawlucha is actually going to come out. Don't think it will, because our opponent has just used the Karina, not a Lysander. So let's see what our opponent actually thinking right now. Okay, so he's actually going to bring out the Fighting Stadium. So luckily for us, our Yveltal is actually not an EX type Pokemon, so he will be able to survive the hit again. Okay, well now he won't, because our opponent does actually have the Crobat, so he will actually be able to get rid of our Yveltal in case he actually does. Okay, and I guess he decided not to, so he's actually going to hit our Yveltal for 60 damage and draw into some more cards. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Colress for some new cards in our hand. And do we have any? Okay, so we do have a Darkness Energy in our discard pile, so I can absolutely use that. I'm actually gonna discard our VS Seeker and an N to grab out a Darkrai EX, and then bring him out to allow us for that retreat. And then I'm gonna go and bring out our Yveltal EX and perform the knockout to draw onto 2 prize cards, and then I'm going to use the Juniper on our next turn. So let's go and get rid of that Lucario EX and draw onto 2 of our prize cards. I am worried that our Yveltal EX may be able to get knocked out on this turn, because if that Hawlucha gets, for example, a Strong Energy and a Muscle Band, and our opponent actually evolves his Zubat into the Crobat, he could actually knock us out. And okay, he's actually going to use the Lysander Trump card. Okay, so I guess I'm kind of happy about that, but I think our Yveltal EX may actually be able to survive this turn, which is definitely good, because we are running quite a few Max Potions and the Scoop Up Cyclone, so I feel like we're definitely going to perform quite well in this deck. Again, this deck has been performing very, very well right now. Absolutely one of my favorites. And okay, so no max potions or anything like that, but that's okay. I'll still be able to get rid of that Hawlucha. So I'm gonna bring out the Yveltal EX, attach a Darkness Energy to him, retreat this one, and bring him out. Use the Energy Switch to actually grab out an energy from our Yveltal EX in our bench, and then attach it to him. I'm also gonna attach the Heart Charm because of course I want to insulate us from taking more damage. And let's go and get rid of that Hawlucha and draw onto another prize card. And okay. So I'm thinking I should actually use the Juniper on our next turn because I do want to grab onto some max potions or hopefully our scoop up cyclone just to prevent our Pokemon from actually getting knocked out, because they are very low in HP right now. And again, our deck's premise is actually revolving around our defensive build. So think we should be able to win. Okay, so unfortunately our opponent was unable to do anything right now. Let's go and get rid of that stadium card, and I'm gonna go and attach a Darkness Energy to our active Yveltal EX, use the Juniper, and again, none of our healing cards are actually present at the moment, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go and hit that Crobat with a Y-Cyclone for 90 damage, and attach one of our Darkness Energies to our benched Yveltal in case we need that energy retrieval ability later on into the game. So definitely is nice to actually have these Yveltals. Oblivion Wing attack definitely comes in quite nice and handy. So again, we're using a very solid deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like our opponent is going to be able to win against us. I think he's going to try and knock out this Yveltal EX. If he actually does have an energy, he will be able to draw onto 2 prize cards. Hopefully that's not the case, but okay, looks like the Fighting Stadium's coming out, and he's actually going to use the Escape Rope. So I guess I'm actually going to bring out this Yveltal for the time being, and I may just use the Lysander on our next turn to actually drag out our opponent's Crobat and knock him out using our Yveltal EX. Just thinking what would actually be the best case scenario at the moment. So let's see what we actually have in our discard pile. So we have 3 Junipers and N. The VS Seeker, don't actually think I should use it right now. I'm definitely going to get rid of that Stadium card. And let's see what we should actually do, guys. I think I'm actually gonna get rid of the Lucario EX. Would that be a wise choice? No, I'm actually gonna go and get rid of that Crobat as planned and draw onto another prize card. So let's bring out our Yveltal EX, use the Lysander on our opponent's Crobat, and then knock him out to draw onto another prize card. Hopefully we get some of our healing cards because our bench Pokemon are pretty badly damaged, so that's not exactly the greatest scenario for us. And let's see what our prize card is. And okay, another Darkness Energy. May actually just use the VS Seeker for a Juniper, and hopefully, because I really do want to draw onto some of our healing type cards, or again our Scoop Up Cyclones, just to prevent our opponent from actually taking any of his prize cards. If an N was actually to play with us, that could actually be a bit of a sticky situation for us, because that Lucario EX is dishing out quite a bit of damage right now. So 100 damage, but minus our weakness, he'll be able to hit us for 80 damage, and then draw onto some extra cards. And okay, looks like a Crobat or a Golbat's going to come out, and unfortunately our Yveltal EX is going to get knocked out. Okay, so looks like the Crobat's coming out, our Yveltal EX is going to get knocked out, and our opponent is going to be able to draw onto his first 2 prize cards. So okay, so unfortunately we weren't able to draw onto our healing type cards early enough, and our opponent did use the Starling Megaphone to get rid of that energy type attachment to us. Gonna bring out our Mewtwo EX, hopefully if we're able to draw onto an energy switch card or something like that. So let's go and attach a Darkness Energy to our Mewtwo EX. Gonna place an Yveltal EX down into our bench. I'm going to go and use the Starling Megaphone to get rid of that Muscle Band attachment. Place a Heart Charm to our Mewtwo EX, and I'm actually gonna use the Professor Juniper and hope that we get some good cards. Alright, so awesome. Looks like we do have the Max Potion, and we actually do have the Scoop Up Cyclone as well. So let's see, we have 2 Darkness Energies in our discard pile. I'm just going to retreat our Yveltal EX and bring out the Yveltal with 40 damage because he will unfortunately get knocked out anyways. And then let's go and Max Potion off our Yveltal EX. And then I'm gonna go and use the Oblivion Wing attack to hit for 30 damage and grab onto a Darkness Energy to our Mewtwo EX, which will hopefully be able to knock out our opponent's Lucario EX on our next turn. And hopefully we should go into victory if our opponent doesn't actually retreat his Lucario EX. So as you guys can see, our deck is very solid right now. Our opponent's definitely running quite a nice deck as well. Definitely a deck that I personally enjoy using. Quite versatile. The Crobat and Grobat damage, Crobat and Golbat damage definitely does add up. And as you guys can see, it is quite nice in that you can actually snipe our opponent's bench Pokemon. So again, definitely a deck that I do like. And our opponent's going to end our hand down to a single card. But again, if he actually does attack with his Lucario EX, he is going to lose thanks to his weakness and our Mewtwo EX being able to go on to the win. And okay, looks like we are going to win, guys. So I hope you guys very much did enjoy this video, and thank you guys very much for watching. So let's go and perform that knockout and go on to the victory. Sorry, looks like I'm just lagging a little bit. Thank you guys very much for watching, and if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.